Welcome back to the channel, Crypto Trend Trader, with a quick update on Bitcoin. Before we get started, I'd like to remind you this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. Alright, so we're basically, let me switch back over to the 4 hour. We were, I think mid last video down around this area. We basically got that buy signal, essentially put in a double bottom, a higher low, consolidated above the 382. Looks like continuation. We got the continuation to the upside. You remember we were saying we came all the way down. We went up 3 fib levels, 1, 2, 3, and then we came down 1, 2. We went up 1, 2, 3. We came down 1, 2, and then we went 1, 2, 3, and that takes us all the way to the 786, which was our target. I believe I said was between 11.8 and I think 11.9, which is exactly where we're at now. Essentially, the way I picked that out was based on the 786 fib, 886 fib, and then this ascending top line of the channel. Now, I'm not saying we can't continue to the upside. I actually would rather see a push up here to a new high and then a close somewhere above 12,000. If we got a 4-hour close above 12,000, that's going to give me like the exact signature I'm looking for. Basically, that would essentially put a close above 12,000 will give us a higher high with less energy. Well, it depends which indicator oscillator you're looking at. So at this point in time, continuation looks possible. But we got the cross back over on the histogram here. We're back above the slope line. We need to now just maintain above that slope line long enough, and we will flip it back over blue and get that continuation to the upside. And then same thing here. You know, we're in the bearish distribution zone. We're up here in the distribution zone. You know, we're waiting on the pink to arrive at the top, at which point in time we would expect like one more stab up typically, one more little push up right here, and then we can get the sell off, and then we'll get the hard sell coming out of the bearish control zone. And you know, that's obviously like the ideal that's the ideal signature for us. Now we still have a couple hours for that to play out, so but now we're going to switch back over to, that's our technical analysis for today. Again, I think we're probably, you know, topping out in that area and then potentially going to retrace, and then we'll have to see what happens from there if we get continuation to the upside or not. But I want to actually talk about like a little bit about like technicals, fundamentals, and also, you know, like strength on a chart, and you know, how to interpret it. So looking at basically looking at Bitcoin on the monthly log scale, this is our chart. Okay, a clear defined uptrend followed by, you know, a long drawn out consolidation range in which we still have not taken out the high. And then when we got that dump back here, when we got that pullback when everything was crashing down, I'm just going to do the one candle. I'm not going to count the one before it, but we got a 55% dump. So we came down 55%. And then if you go from the actual bottom, the tip of the wick, to right now, we're up 200%. So we've over doubled since that. And then this is the chart, and now I'm going to flip it over off of log scale. This is your regular scale. So we basically had a massive blow off top, followed by consolidation just below, well, in between the 50 and the 55, basically like simple and exponential. We got the negative cross, and that was basically the bottom on the 8 and the 21. And then since then, we've been able to maintain our closes above the 21 or above like the 50, 55. So but essentially we've just put in like a big consolidation like triangle pattern. Okay, and now we're going to switch over to something else, Tesla. So we're going to use Tesla this time, and now this is on log scale, obviously just a massive uptrend after a long drawn out consolidation period, but no initial like blow off top on this one. So it does look a little different, but again, a clear defined long-term uptrend. And now this is it on log scale. So here we have basically like that consolidation range followed by a massive blow off top. Okay, and if we go down here, we can see we're going to do the same exact thing now. So we're only going to count this candle right here down to the bottom, which would be 25%. So, and if you went from up here, and again, we're on the monthly, so, you know, if you went from up here, it'd be probably closer to 50%. But again, we're just doing like a slight comparison. So even if you say they came down like roughly the same amount, which they didn't if you're counting just that monthly candle. We now have gone to the wick on Tesla up 855%. So my point being, with everything going on right now, the idea of crypto and Bitcoin being essentially a digital store of gold. Gold is making all-time highs. Silver is going up by like a couple of dollars a day, like 5 and 10% a day. You know, like 25% a week. Tesla and a lot of the stock market are making all-time highs. In Tesla's case, is one of the strongest and did obviously like almost basically a 9x, 8x, whatever, off the bottom right there. But even if you say from its previous high to where Tesla's at, that's 383%. So that's a 4x from its previous high. So Tesla is obviously one of, if not the strongest. Okay, but now here it is at the top of a range. You know, basically consolidating on the monthly, potentially topping out, like, you know, or at least getting like a retracement, at least cooling off. Okay, but meanwhile, everything else now, all the weak stocks are pumping. So Tesla pumped in the beginning and started all this, basically got like that huge run up and then has been consolidating. So the money goes into Tesla first. Tesla goes on a massive bull run. Everybody jumps in on Tesla. Everybody's on the party, on the hype train. It pumps way up, and then the smart people who got in early now start distributing their assets into other assets that have not yet pumped. So that's when you see, like, you know, different sectors pumping. And then now here we are essentially at like the last set of sectors, like the basically like the indexes and all that stuff now are finally making all-time highs months later while this is consolidating. So essentially what happens is all this money moves up here, and then they take the money out of here and they move it into different things, into various other stocks, index funds, whatever it is, and then that pumps up. And then once those pump up, then the distribution takes place, and they will start pulling the money back out of that and then putting it into like where they actually want it, stores of value, or like, you know, legitimate investments, like not stuff that they just want to get like stuck holding bags of. So basically that's where like your technicals and your fundamentals meet and what you can expect based on that. So, and now let's switch back over to Bitcoin. So essentially what happened was we got that run up here, and when we ran up here, Bitcoin was strong, and then we got to the top of the range and Bitcoin didn't do a lot of anything. And then all these other alts were like pumping, going on runs, and you know, you see like 4x's and 5x's and all kinds of stuff left and right. But Bitcoin's basically just been like consolidating. So if Bitcoin was doing what Tesla did, and it was the strongest in the market, which it's clearly the strongest in the space based on market cap. Bitcoin has a much larger market cap than any other crypto, and is like literally like, you know, what, 50% of the space, basically a little more, of the total value. So if Tesla was a total of 50% of the stock market, you know, we would have a more realistic view. But if it was 50% of the stock market and the stock market was bullish, you would expect it to go to massive new highs, which it's not 50%, and it still went to massive highs like 8, 9x from its previous high. So Bitcoin is extremely weak in comparison. Crypto is extremely weak in comparison. Hard assets, gold, silver, pumping. Housing, pumping. Real estate, pumping. Stock market, pumping. And crypto is basically back to where it started before its downtrend right here. And if you go look at the altcoins, they're extremely weak. I mean, I think Ethereum got up to like, what was it? I can't even remember, $1,300 or $1,800 in that bull run. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculous. And now like everybody's excited and it's not even $400. Like that thing is still like 25% of its all-time highs. It's still way down here. It hasn't even gotten to like come back up and fail to put in a new all-time high. It's not even close to that. So I guess my point is, if you want to argue fundamentals, fundamentally everything should be strong right now because all the cash is getting devalued. So everybody should be flooding into anything that's worth value and potentially a store of value, which we don't see that as the case in crypto, but we see it everywhere else. We do not see even close to the same market cap that we've seen in the past. So somebody's not putting their money in it. And we have a bunch of new institutional money that's come in over the last few years, and yet still we're not getting it. So what do I think's happening? I think all that money that speculated in crypto previously, all those people that got burned, all the new people that would be in crypto, all this, that, and the other, I think all those people are just speculating on the stock market. So I think, honestly, I think in order for crypto and Bitcoin to ever reach all-time high, which it may do in the very near future, I'm not saying it's not going to, but I think in order for it to happen, we have to get retail back interested in the space. And retail is not interested in the space right now. So essentially, like, all this like development and all these on and off ramps have been being built over the last few years, and all this consolidation has been taking place, and people have been building the space, and new projects, and DeFi has been taking off, and this, that, and the other. So we've been laying the groundwork for sure, to some degree. Many projects are just dead and a waste of space and money. But the truth is that until retail gets here, until retail FOMO is in, we're never going to get this. We're never going to get that massive bull run up here. And, you know, if you want to argue Bitcoin's a store of value and Bitcoin's a hard asset and all this stuff, why is crypto so weak right now? Why is crypto so weak? It doesn't make any sense. And like proportionally, people are like, oh, it's strong. You know, Bitcoin's like tripled off its tripled just this year, but you're counting here. People are saying that, oh, it's tripled since its low this year. Well, yeah, it tripled since the low, but it's still not even back to the previous, like, you know, high right here. We haven't even gotten like a close. Well, we did actually on spot, but we're just right back here. We're right back to our previous high. Like, and it's not even our all-time high. So I don't know. It's just, it's not as strong as people are acting like it is. And I mean, I want to get bullish on this thing. I definitely do. But why are the fundamentals so weak? And then looking at the technicals, you know, again, I mean, you know, this looks good on the long term. It definitely looks good, but it's not unrealistic to think that we can't just come back down here one more time and put in, you know, a higher low. And my point about Tesla, I guess, being not only to compare the fundamentals and the technicals of the two different markets, the two different stocks, explain how like the money pumps from Bitcoin into crypto. I was saying all the little altcoins were going to go on a run, and now here we see, you know, that money coming back into crypto, and we see Bitcoin dominance rising back up, and we see all the things that I was saying, you know, essentially happening. All those, the altcoins that have been going on runs are stagnating, and now we're getting like this bust out on Bitcoin. But in all reality, what is that? That's just all the money coming back out of the altcoins going back into Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, like, market dominance is now like pumping up. It found support on the exact area, you know, that we were expecting, that we called out. So, you know, in all reality, what's happening right now? The money's pumping back into Bitcoin. So one of two things going to happen right now. They're pumping back into Bitcoin because we're about to top out and sell off, and Bitcoin's going to hold its value better. So it's going to be a store of value on the way down. Or we're getting ready to break out now, and, you know, we're going to go on that massive run, in which case, if we did something similar to Tesla, I would expect us to go to, like, you know, $60,000 or $80,000. So, but I mean, we got plenty of time before anything like that happens. I mean, retail FOMO on a chart is going to look like this on like a monthly, but it's not like we're not going to see it happening. You know, this isn't retail FOMO yet, even remotely close. This is us barely even getting back the money that was in the space back here, and that's on top of all the money printing, all the tether printing, all the, you know, new projects, all the stimulus money that you know, these developers took from the government who are claiming to be decentralized, like Cardano, like Charles Hoskinson, you know, basically claiming to have a decentralized, you know, altcoin network and all this stuff, and then takes like massive $1 million bailouts from the United States government. That doesn't feel very decentralized, but that's beside the fact. That's beside the fact. So anyway, my point just being, I guess, is, you know, everything is making all-time highs basically, except for crypto. We have like a handful of cryptos making all-time highs, and I honestly believe it's only because, you know, once you make all-time high, you're going to continue to make all-time highs, because there's no sellers basically incentivized to get out, because everybody's in profit. So until you top out, people are not going to sell. They're just going to hold it. So I guess like that's my point with all this, is that, you know, potentially, yeah, we're going to take out all-time highs, but if everything's making all-time highs, why wouldn't you put your money in the things that are making all-time highs? Why would you put them in the things that aren't? Unless you're just trying to participate in that cycle where you're moving your money around to what you think is going to pump next. So if that's what you think is going to happen right here, and Bitcoin's going to break out and pump and all this money's going to come into Bitcoin, that's completely fine. But based on everything else that we've looked at, crypto is weak right now. It's very unfortunate, but it's true. So we'll have to see how this plays out. Again, I don't think it's unrealistic. They're going to come up here to that 12,136 range, get a close at a higher high, and then sell off from there, or potentially consolidate and get continuation. But whatever happens, we're basically at the point where I think we're getting ready to consolidate. And I think the majority of the moves in all markets, have taken place, and now we're just basically waiting for our next catalyst for volatility. So whether it's going to be a catalyst and volatility to the upside or a catalyst and volatility to the downside, I can't read the future. I can't see the future, although it does feel like it sometimes. But the truth is if we just have identifiable ranges and targets in mind, it doesn't matter which direction it goes. We're gonna make profits in either way. So, well, there you have it, guys. Crypto trend trader, a little bit of the daily technical analysis, a little bit of time on the monthly, and just kind of comparing Tesla to Bitcoin, just kind of put everything in perspective a little bit, because I think sometimes people get so caught up on whatever their favorite asset is, or whatever the asset that they most often trade is, that they forget to zoom out and look at what the other markets are doing and what the other charts are doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you got two stocks and one of them is pumping and making all-time highs, and the other one is still at 60% from all-time highs, a smart person will speculate that the one making all-time highs will continue to make all-time highs, as where the how do I put this, the lottery ticket mentality, or the long shot mentality, will choose the weaker option, hoping that it at one point in time returns to its all-time high or does better. So you see people a lot of times, if something was $100 at its all-time high and now it's at $2, they say, well, yeah, it's at $2. Yeah, it's down 98% from its all-time high. But if it goes from $2 to $100 back to its all-time high, that's a 50x. And that's the argument that I hear people make all the time. And that's not the correct mentality to have. If you don't understand why, you need to read up a little bit, and understand why a blue sky breakout is so important, and why resistance support is so important, and why downside pressure is so important. Because once you understand that, you will understand much more clearly why I say that capital allocation is one of, if not the most important things in this space. Because if you just put your money somewhere and it sits there dead while everything else is pumping, that's just as bad. That's just as bad. The idea of picking the weakest one based on only its price currently compared to its all-time high, not based on fundamentals, not based on technicals, whatever it is. If you're doing that, that is the wrong mentality to have. And this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. These markets are extremely volatile, so please do your own research and trade responsibly. But if you fix, one of the biggest things about trading that people don't understand is the psychology of it. And if you can start fixing the little psychological things that we've been trained to, that whales and traders specifically exploit, knowing that FOMO, and knowing that those feelings that they can inspire in people when you put in an all-time high or a breakout or whatever it is right before they just dump all over your face. That's the psychology of it. You're essentially getting baited. They're setting a trap and you're walking into it. And that's what that is. That's a trap. If you're buying something that's at a fractional percentage of its all-time high, that's a trap. And I'm not talking about something that's consolidating. I'm not talking about if Tesla runs to all-time highs, goes parabolic, and then has a 50% retrace and consolidates. I'm not talking about that. That's completely fine. It's consolidating at a reasonable level after a massive bull run based on technicals or fundamentals or whatever. And you could argue the same thing for Bitcoin. that, you know, it had a basically like it's at 60%, it's, you know, of all-time highs. It had a, you know, violent retracement, but it's consolidating and in the future will break out. But if you look at a chart that looks similar to the majority of these altcoins that are, you know, less than 25% of their all-time high, if you look at a chart like that, that's a flat line. That's a, you know, that's a flat line is what we call that. That's a, you know, I don't even know what you want to call it. I mean, basically, the heartbeat is strong and it's slowly getting weaker, and then finally it's just, you know, when you zoom out, it just looks like a flat line. It's not even bouncing anymore. And that's what the majority of the altcoins look like right now. So unless there's like some kind of like legitimate development going on fundamentally in one of these altcoins, or unless there was some kind of like split where the chart is off, like what happened with you know, Bitcoin Cash and Satoshi's vision, unless there's some other factor, in my opinion, there's no reason, nor should anyone be quote unquote investing or holding bags intentionally of an extremely weak asset. I would much rather wait for that asset to start showing strength and then buy it at a higher price, knowing that my money is not just going to be sitting around doing nothing for months upon months upon months while I hope and pray that one day it returns to all-time highs so I can cash in my lottery ticket. That is the wrong mentality to have in this space. If you're going to be a trader, trade. If you're going to be a hodler, hodl, or an investor, invest. But you should be doing all those things based on facts or, you know, realistic, useful factors. So you should be doing that based on technicals. You should be doing it based on fundamentals. You should be doing it based on something other than the previous high and the current price, and saying, if this gets back to there, then so and so. Because the truth is there's a, if something was $100 and now it's $2, there's $98 worth of resistance before it ever gets to all-time highs. If something is at all-time highs and then consolidates, there's a fractional amount of resistance to get right back to all-time high and then continue to the upside, and there's no downside pressure whatsoever other than people just saying, I'm going to take profits because I've already made so much money on this asset. So I would much rather be that guy than the other guy just sitting around holding a lottery ticket for one day his numbers to pop. So, well, there you have it, guys. I mean, I went on a long one right there, but crypto trend trader, a little bit of fundamental, technical, a little bit of comparison, a little bit of psychological, all that good stuff. So, and to everybody that reached out and showed their support, asked to show their support, you know, whatever, just basically like left me like nice comments, shares, likes, all that stuff. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. I've reached out to all the people that I'm going to have in this group. If you did not make it in the group, there will be others in the future, and then down the line when you're comfortable or whatever, you can move on, and that's fine. You know, you don't need me anymore, you're not getting anything out of it, that's completely fine. This is not supposed to be a money trap where people start putting money into it and then you're stuck in this like monthly contribution or whatever. If you want to do that, that's completely fine, and I'm a wealth of knowledge and I'm glad to share it as long as you're interested, but that is not the case. So at the point in time when this becomes more established and someone leaves the program, or somebody else you know, is interested and we've structured it out and everything, I would look at expanding it or potentially doing it differently. So, but in the meantime, we are full. I do appreciate all the support from everybody, and I'm extremely excited, looking forward to this. Looks like we are probably going to get it started next week, starting Monday. But I'm hashing out all the details and getting everything set up now, getting a little bit of structure to it, and then setting up like specific hours based on, you know, market volatility and whatnot to set up position for like big moves, etc. So, well, there you have it, guys. I really appreciate everybody that's reached out and you know, that I responded to. I'm looking forward to having these people in the group and growing as a community. I'm really looking forward to growing the channel thanks to the contributions of various members of the community, and I'm really excited to improve the quality of the content that I'm able to put out for you guys, and everybody will benefit from that before long. So thank you again for everybody for all the support, and Crypto Trend Trader, and I'm out of here.